So you're interested in what it's like to live in Moscow, Idaho. Well, the purpose of this video is to really help you get a grasp on how Moscow's laid out, understand where things are and what to expect in different areas of town. If you're new to the channel, you couldn't be in a better place to learn about Moscow. I'm Chris Carpenter, I live in Moscow, and I've been here for over a decade. Professionally, I'm a real estate agent, so learning about the Moscow area and its people is what I do all day long. All right, we're diving straight in this time. Moscow is cut into 4 quarters by the 2 primary highways that run through town. We have Highway 95 running north-south through town, and Highway 8 running east to west. You'll notice just east of downtown Moscow, we kind of have this central box, and surrounding that box is somewhat of a grid pattern. And as you go further from downtown, the roads start to follow more of the contours of the Palouse Hills. Out there, homes tend to be more spread out. You start to get a little more room or acreage as you get further away from that central grid. I like to break it down into 5 areas: Northeast Moscow, East Moscow, Southeast Moscow, Southwest Moscow, and Northwest Moscow. Each area has its own defining features. So Northeast Moscow, this is really everything north of F Street. And I divide it this way because there's a notable difference in the housing in this quadrant as compared to others. Between F Street and D Street here, there tends to be a lot of rentals, duplexes, triplexes, and some apartment buildings. North of F Street tends to be larger single-family homes, and there's 2 primary streets that were almost developed in conjunction with each other: Polk Street and Orchard Avenue. The main differences between the 2 is that Polk Street tends to have more townhouses, and it has a mobile home park off the main road. A few neighborhoods in this area to zoom in on. The first being the Quail Run neighborhood here. This neighborhood is super family friendly. It tends to have lots of cul-de-sacs, big walking sidewalks. Families really enjoy living here. It's not a new construction neighborhood, but definitely has a newer feel. Off of Orchard Avenue, you have Lanny Lane and Sloniker, where you can find some newer, more modern homes as well. Then if you go a little north into this wide open field is a new development. It's called the Woodbury development. We actually had the father-son team who are putting this development together on our channel for an interview. And this neighborhood is going to be a really neat, well-designed neighborhood based off of the Seabrook development in Western Washington. And then there's that mobile home park that I mentioned that is off of Polk Street right here. 2 important spots on this side of town are Mountain View Park and the Palouse Nature Preserve. Mountain View is one of Moscow's favorite parks. It's got a lot there: wide open fields, basketball courts, a killer playground, a nature path, picnic spots, a gazebo, pretty much everything that you need. The Nature Preserve is one that not many people know about unless you live nearby. It's very similar in size to the U of I Arboretum, which we'll talk about later. And even though it doesn't have the same variety, you still get acres of walking paths to enjoy on this side of town too. Okay, let's talk about East Moscow. This area is really bracketed by Main Street to the west, F Street to the north, and Highway 8 to the south. And you could really block this section off into 3 further subsections. First, you've got the Fort Russell, or more historic district, just east of downtown Moscow. This extends just about into East City Park. Fort Russell is technically just this northern part of it, but south of it and east of downtown, you have very similar builds, generally speaking, just a little smaller. East of that, the neighborhood transitions into more mid-century to 90s builds. And when you go over Mountain View Road, which used to be the edge of town, you have more new construction neighborhoods, built in the 2000s into still being built today. Coming back to Fort Russell in this historic area, there's a lot to cover in this neighborhood. Fort Russell is where you get those historic homes that everybody wants. Super charming, and of course, you're really close to downtown. You get a ton of old growth greenery here too, which makes this entire neighborhood just a joy to walk. You also get Moscow's public library, the high school, and just east of Fort Russell, one of Moscow's most popular parks, East City Park. We just put out a detailed neighborhood walkthrough of Fort Russell. If you're interested in checking that out, I'll link it for you here. Transitioning over to that middle section, when you go east of East City Park, you also get Moscow Middle School and a bunch of outdoor recreation features. Then when you get to Mountain View Road, you really have a lot here. We've got Safeway down at the bottom, which provides groceries and shopping, but it also has some dining and a movie theater. It even has an indoor park, which is a great place for kids to play during the winter months. There's a coffee shop there, a juice bar, some really great stuff. Moving up along Mountain View Road, we've got Heron's Hideout, the Joseph Ball Fields, Moscow Water Tower Park. This is central in the Rolling Hills neighborhood. Euler Field, Moscow Middle School, and the Hamilton Low Aquatic Center. That's why when we're talking about this area, we often say it's really the sports and recreation corridor for Moscow. And consequently, these neighborhoods to either side of Mountain View are great for families that like their sports and outdoor recreation. East of Mountain View, you get neighborhoods that can really all be exemplified by the Rolling Hills neighborhood, which you can find here. We actually did a video specifically on this neighborhood that if you want more details on it, I can link it for you here. Rolling Hills is one of the most desirable neighborhoods in all of Moscow. People really love it. One area that's definitely a different vibe than Rolling Hills, but still on this eastern side of Moscow, is this stretch of White Avenue from Mountain View Road down to the roundabout. Here, you'll get a lot of large apartment complexes and higher density single family living with Tiempo Commons planned unit development and Greenside's pocket neighborhood. Looking at southeast Moscow, we've got quite a mix here. It's pretty eclectic. You get high density apartment buildings, planned unit developments, and some commercial, but there is a chunk of this neighborhood that's pretty much all single family homes. It's just south of Steiner and north of Southview and Indian Hills. You can really feel the development phases of this neighborhood as you walk through. It's got parts that have mature greenery and older homes, all the way to new 2025 built homes. As far as the commercial stuff in this part of town goes, the most prominent thing you'll find is auto shops. There are 3 or 4 of them along Palouse River Drive down here, along with some other businesses. But largely the reason you'll come to this part of town on business will be for car maintenance and repair. One main landmark over on this side of town is the Latah Trail that goes along Highway 8 out towards Troy. I actually live in this neighborhood, and one other thing that we love about this neighborhood is what we call the Blue Park, which is located right here off of Indian Hills. It's a great neighborhood park. Now let's head over to southwest Moscow. In this quadrant, we have a lot going on. So up top, we've got the University of Idaho. Here we have the University of Idaho Arboretum, the golf course. There's lots of student housing in here, and a great single family neighborhood with a neighborhood park here. Additionally, we have a new development going in down here with new builds and lots for sale in earnest. This is called the Eddington development. I mentioned it briefly, but the Arboretum is kind of one of Moscow's postcard locations. It's absolutely beautiful. If you have a chance to walk through it when you visit, definitely do. And right next door, you have a pocket of single family homes here. This is a really interesting mix of residence and homes, similar to Southeast Moscow. You've got a wide range of years when homes were being built up in the neighborhood. So you've got portions that were very recently developed and others that were developed through the 50s, 60s, and 70s. You get a lot of seniors who live in this area, professors, families, young professionals, and students all mixed together. We also have a mobile home park in this quadrant down here off of Palouse River Drive. But if you keep going further south, you have a brand new development called the Eddington development right here. which is over 75% sold and under contract at this point, and home builds are quickly following. There's an alley system that goes around the back of all the homes, and then every home design has garages placed on the back side of the homes so that they can be fed off the alley instead of your typical suburban design with nothing but garages in the front. The one other place that you've got to know about, because it's perhaps Moscow's favorite winter activity, is the Palouse ice rink, which you will find right here. This is such a gem. My team hosts an annual client skate night once a year. The community surrounding the ice rink is phenomenal, family friendly, and just good fun, especially in the winter when there's not a ton to do around town. The final thing I'll mention about this side of town that you may have already noticed is the density of parks, fields, and recreation spaces. In part, thanks to the U of I, there are a ton of green spaces to choose from when you want to get out of the house. This includes a continuation of the bike path. We talked about this on the southeast quadrant, and the bike path continues here until it gets all the way out to Pullman. Finally, we come to Northwest Moscow, and there's not actually a ton to say here because the vast majority of this area is commercial. This neighborhood is defined as the main shopping corridor in Moscow. Along this part of Highway 8, which on this stretch is typically called the Moscow-Pullman Highway, you get all the shopping you need: a Walmart supercenter, there's a Target, a Winco Foods, which is a primary grocery store in Moscow, and a Home Depot up here. And this yellow area here is the Palouse Place Mall. There's far more than just groceries. You've also got some entertainment in the mall too. If you get a chance to walk it, you definitely should. It's pretty small by big city standards, but there's still some great activities to be had there, especially in the winter when you can't really get out and about as you normally would. There is a small section of residential neighborhood in this quadrant as well, made up of single families, duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, and some apartment buildings. The vast majority of it is used for rentals and student housing. There are a number of really nice larger lots, larger homes up here on C Street, but the vast majority of the homes in this lower neighborhood, it's actually a hill, so up here on C Street, these guys have some really great views, but the vast majority of homes in this neighborhood are going up the hill and tend to be smaller homes, smaller lots. You also get Moscow's biggest and most well-maintained mobile home park here at Robinson Mobile Home Park. A cool thing about the residential neighborhood part of Northwest Moscow that's easy to skim over is the fact that you have pretty much equal access to all of Moscow's shopping and all of Moscow's downtown. And if you don't know already, Moscow's downtown is really the place to be here, both for seasonal events and for the food scene and boutiques lining Moscow. You probably noticed that we didn't really touch on downtown Moscow, and the reason for that is that we've already covered downtown in detail on our channel. We've got a walking tour and an overview video. I'll be sure to link those for you here. If you're already thinking about moving to Moscow, or if you're interested in buying, selling, or investing in Moscow, Idaho real estate, let me know. You can call, text, email, or scan the QR code and we'll get connected. Also, I want to make these videos as valuable to you as possible. So if you have questions about Moscow, if there's a particular video that you want me to make, drop a comment down below and let me know. I'll read your comments and I'll seek to provide you guys with those videos. Don't forget to check out one of these two videos for your next watch.